So this is the real life story of a couple called Barney and Betty Hill, who claimed they were abducted by aliens while driving home from a 3-day getaway. And they just noticed this light in the sky and they felt like it was following them, because wherever they weaved, that would weave. And you know, that it would disappear behind the clouds and the mountains, and it would just go, boop, I'm still here. And they'd be like, what is that? So they didn't want to play the guessing game any longer, and they decided to just pull the car over and have a little look-see. It was Betty that actually took a look and saw what she thought looked like a spinning object. She told her husband there was no way in hell that this was a satellite or a star or a helicopter or a bird wearing a head torch. But they just got back in the car. They continued their drive home until the object was hovering roughly 100 feet above them. Barney stopped the car and got out. He was absolutely fed up with this shit. He had a handgun in his pocket. Betty stayed in the car. He kept the engine running, and he ran into a field that was like pitch black to look at this object. Barney said it was as big as a jet, but as round and as flat as a pancake. Probably wasn't as flat as a pancake because we're talking like this, but I get what he's saying. He tried to reach for his gun, but he felt like something was physically stopping him. And also a voice told him not to put down his binoculars, which is really random. It's like, keep looking at me. And then a thought suddenly occurred to him. We're going to be captured. He absolutely legged it back to the car as fast as he possibly could. Thankfully, he left the car running so he could make a really quick getaway. This didn't help. The object landed on their car and put them to sleep. The uniformed beings they saw in the craft led them up a ramp into the craft. Barney and Betty were then separated and tested. They were told to get onto a metal table, take all their clothes off. The beings then took nail clippings, plucked out their hairs. I mean, not all their hairs. They didn't wake up the next day and be like, I'm bald! And they peeled off bits of their skin, which is gross. These were then put onto like a glass slide, like a petri dish, I imagine, for inspection later, probably. They also put needles into their limbs and their heads. Betty remembered also a needle being put into her stomach, which acted as a pregnancy test. Very interesting. So there was at one point Betty was alone with the leader, and she asked where the craft had flown. Betty was like, where are we? The alien was like, look at this map. And then Betty remembered the map, and under hypnosis years later drew the map. And then years after that, Marjorie was like, I know where that is, and told us. Zeta Reticuli.